So this problem reads, the table below shows the typical length of a cold dependent upon whether or not the person afflicted has taken medicine. And you can see over here in the chart that it talks about whether or not the medicine was taken on the top and the cold length on the bottom. And notice that we have the totals and we have the totals on the outside of our chart. So the first question reads, what is the probability that the cold lasts 1 to 3 days given that the person did not take medicine? Now, how do we know that this is a conditional probability? By the fact that it says given that. That's your clue, really, that this is conditional probability. So let's write out what the problem is looking for. Okay, so our formula reads the number of 1 to 3 days given no beds. Now, the reason that we have number and not probability is because this chart gives us actual numbers. And we know that when you have conditional probability, it's the same formula whether you have the number of those elements or you have the probability of those elements. So this is the formula we're going to use here. And according to our conditional probability, this is equal to the number of 1 to 3 intersect no meds divided by the number of no meds. So let's take a look at the chart and see if we can figure out what these particular numbers are. So if we want to find the intersection, we're going to take a look at the column that is no meds, and we're going to intersect it with a column that is 1 to 3 days. So essentially it's saying what is the intersection of this column here with this column here, and we see that actually it's just this number right here. This number 19 is the intersection of the no column with the 1 to 3 column. So that means that our numerator in this example is just 19. Okay, great. Well, now what we need to do is we need to get rid of these arrows, and we need to understand what is the denominator in this problem. So the denominator is going to be the number of no meds. And again, we're going to take a look at the number of people not taking medication. And really, we just want this total down here. Those are all of the people who are not taking medication. And so that means that my denominator is 19 out of 98. And if we do this division, it comes out to 19.39%. And we're done with part A. So let's go ahead now, let's take a look at the next part of the question, which says, what is the probability that the person did not take medicine? Now, this is not a conditional probability problem. It just wants to know what is the probability that they did not take no medicine. So let's write that down. Okay. So this is going to be, as always, the denominator is going to be the total number of people that we are talking about in this problem. Well, the total number of people that we're talking about is right down here. This is our 200, right? That's our total sample space. That's how many people we have asked this question, which means that my denominator here has to be 200. Now, for my numerator, I want to know out of those 200 people, how many of them did not take medication? So we need to look again at the total who did not take medication, and that's this number here, which is the 98. So 98 people did not take medication out of the total 200 people that we asked altogether. And when we do the division, this comes out to be 49%. Perfect. Let's take a look at the very last problem. The last problem says, what is the probability that the person took medicine given that the cold lasted 4 to 7 days? So again, this word here, given that, indicates that this is a conditional probability problem. So let's write down again in formula terms what it is we're looking for. So this says the number of people taking medicine given the 4 to 7 days. So again, this translates into the number of medicine intersect 4 to 7 over the number of 4 to 7. So if I take a look at my chart, I can see here that the total number of people, let's see if we can get this in here, who are in the 4 to 7 day range would be here. That's the 95. Okay, so that's my denominator. And the total number of people who are taking medicine, and so we're going to look at this column here. That's the total number of people that are taking medicine and are in the 4 to 7 day column. So that is going to be 16 out of 95. And so the average that we get here is roughly 16.84%. And we're done.